I'm Tom Tate, and this is the Power Time Podcast Summer of Streaming. What's up, Power Players? Happy Monday. Welcome back to the Power Time Podcast. I'm your host, Tom Tate, and you are listening to an audio journey through the history of Nintendo, one issue of Nintendo Power Magazine at a time. So if you're tuning in for the first time, I'm taking the summer off from the Nintendo Power episodes for what I'm calling the summer of streaming. So this is an excuse for me to play games, talk about games with really cool people, and try some new things. We'll be back in mid-September with Season 2. I'll be kicking things off with Volume 20, which was Mega Man 3. This was January of 1991. I'm super pumped about this, so stick around. I should also have a really great interview to share on Thursday, along with another night of Twitch streaming. I beat DuckTales last Thursday night. It was a ton of fun, so if you can tune in on Thursday night, that would be cool. So let's jump into the new question of the week, and I will actually share some responses from last week's question as well. So this week's question is designed to drum up some positive memories. What was the most memorable game on any Nintendo console that you received as a gift? What was the most memorable game on any Nintendo console that you received as a gift? This could be Christmas, Hanukkah, birthdays, special occasions, random offerings. It really doesn't matter. You can answer this week's question in a variety of ways. You can click the link on the show notes. You can head on over to powertimepodcast.com, find the post for this question, comment using the page comments, or you can email me at tom@powertimepodcast.com. You can tweet at me at YoPowerTime, YoPowerTime, comment on Facebook, YouTube. You can come hang out and talk in Discord. You can send a carrier pigeon, Morse code, whatever's easiest for you. There's tons of ways to answer the question. All the links are in the show notes for this episode. So I'm really, really excited to hear your responses to this week's question. So get those stories over and I will share them on the show. My story actually goes back to, I think I was 7 years old. So I borrowed Mega Man 3 from my neighbor, and I had it for a really long time, like months and months I had this game, before he appeared one day and he asked for it back. And I was kind of devastated at the time. My 7-year-old brain couldn't fully comprehend the concept of possession and ownership. So I did the logical thing that any kid would do. He was older than me, so I gave it back, obviously. But I then threw a fit in front of my parents. I wanted Mega Man 3 so badly. It was one of my favorite games at the time. And my birthday was a few months after that. So a month or so later, I had this birthday party. I had begged and begged for the game. And I can't remember where my party was at the time, but I do remember opening gifts. And I remember opening a bunch of Ninja Turtle action figures, a couple of Lego sets. I remember board games, the whole nine, all the things you would expect to receive as a 7-year-old, but no games, no NES games, until finally my parents gave me a game-shaped package to unwrap. And clearly it was an NES game box. You know how when you received a package for a game, you just knew what was in that package before you even touched it? So I was thinking, could this be it? Could this be Mega Man 3? So I tore into the wrapping, and lo and behold, Mega Man was staring right back at me. But it was not the title that I expected. Instead, this was Mega Man 4. Mega Man 4 was hot off the assembly line. I remember reading about it in Nintendo Power. I couldn't wait to get home and play it. I was so excited. And despite playing hours and hours of Mega Man 2 and 3 through rentals and borrowing the game, Mega Man 4 was actually the first Mega Man that I actually owned. And, despite its flaws, it quickly became my most coveted game in my collection, and it was my favorite entry for a long time in one of my favorite franchises, the Mega Man franchise. So another Capcom title to add to the mix. I was super pumped, and it was such a great memory that I have of receiving this game. And certainly I've received other awesome gifts. I remember getting Super Nintendo for Christmas, along with Madden and Tiny Toons, which was so exciting. but for whatever reason, that Mega Man 4 memory sticks out. So if you have an awesome story to share or simply want to list a game, just send over a quick game. You can hit me up and I will share that on the show. So last week, our question was, what was the worst game you've ever played on any Nintendo console? And I received some great answers. So my friend Steve, he said Caveman games. He said that people were giving him a hard time for liking this game. He said, I admit that it's awful, but I secretly love it. Others, not so much. And I looked at a video for this game, and I'm going to actually put it in the show notes for this episode because it was horrendous. So I'm going to try to play it. I don't remember this game, but somebody chimed in and said that they remembered it as well. My friend Silvio said Ghostbusters. So Silvio said he can't really recall exactly why. He just simply remembers hating the game with a passion. So Ghostbusters for the NES. Sean mentions Shaq Fu. I received word from Rob and Anthony who said Star Fox Adventures on the GameCube was one of the worst games that they've ever played. Just very disappointing for a first-party Nintendo title. The characters kept saying dum-dee-dum. I actually don't recall that game too much. My wife Lauren actually shared her memory this week. She said that Fester's Quest was the worst game that she's ever played on a Nintendo console. She said it was in the bag that my dad brought home with the rest of the games he got from a coworker. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out how to play it. I tried all the time, but ultimately just got frustrated. Mr. Zor commented on Twitter and he said Deadly Towers for NES was horrendous. And Bill of Run Jump Stomp, who is a fellow podcaster, he's got an amazing podcast called Switchcraft. You have to check it out. I'm going to link it up in the show notes. He said it might be a tie. The Adventures of Bayou Billy or Million's Secret Castle. And both of those games are equally horrendous. And Adventures of Bayou Billy was actually Juan Sepulveda's pick when I interviewed him for the Nintendo 10 a couple of episodes back. So thank you so much to everyone that contributed this week. This was the first week, so I appreciate it. I love these stories, and this is why I started this podcast, to hear and share kind of the collective memories we all have of Nintendo growing up reading Nintendo Power. So I'm really, really excited for the participation, and I definitely hope that you can share your stories this week. If you enjoyed this episode, and I hope that you did, the best way to support the show, instead of dropping a few dollars on Patreon, I'd really love it if you could share the show with a close friend. So drop it into a relevant message board or on Reddit, shoot over an email to someone that you think might enjoy it, or leave me a quick review on Apple Podcasts. So Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast app, it really helps me continue to improve the show and also get the word out. So getting the word out is really the best way that you can help support the show. You can connect with me on Discord at powertimepodcast.com/Discord. Just a few people in there now, but I hope to continue to add more and have some good conversations. You can watch some videos over on YouTube. You can like us on Facebook, whatever you please. There's a variety of ways to get involved and to check out the show. Check out the links in the show notes. I'll link everything up there. I want to thank you so much for your time and attention today. I'm looking forward to hearing your answers to the question of the week. And as always, keep on playing with power.